And welcome to the eBody. Hey, my name is Benedict Howard, and welcome to the eBodyFUSION training for March the 5th, 2016. Actually, this is the eBodyFUSION monthly hangout, and I've got some really cool topics to be covered today. And so just stay on, and I've got a special gift on there too. And I'm just going to switch to my slides here, and that way I can stay on track maybe a little bit better and make sure that you're getting the right information. So let's make 2016 the year for you to get really, really healthy. And that's what I've been doing for decades now, helping clients all over the planet. And today what we're going to do is look at microcurrent biofeedback from Russia in the main, but also, you know, from a coaching perspective, which is what I am, a wellness coach, also to help you understand, you know, how we use basically wellness coaching techniques in conjunction with this microcurrent biofeedback. So today we're going to discover part 4 of the series on the 7 healing secrets of electricity. And so we're going to be looking at that and how electricity does these miracles on the body. And also today we're going to be looking at digestive diseases, and in the Russian clinical studies on 18,255 people, of which the digestive diseases was a subgroup, they had an 88.12% average cure rates across all of those diseases. And you know, with proper diet and exercise, you can easily achieve that too. Of course, with the digestive stuff, it's also around stress and anything that's basically within the intestinal tract, the stomach, all of the abdominal organs there too. So we'll get into details on that too. And before you leave, got a special gift that I'll be doing at the end of the hangout, so be sure to stick around. And also, just back to me for a moment. Also, I just want to, let's see, I want to, there we go, I'm back. Up in your top, I think it's up in this corner. Let me see, I'm more back to front now. No, it's actually in this corner. There's a little eye that appears here, and in it there will be links on the replay that you can get access to here. Now, the special that I mentioned just a moment ago is only available to people that are on the Hangout. So be sure to stick around, and if you can't make it this month, make sure that you can join us on that when it comes to the time for the April Hangout too. So my goal here is obviously to make a lot of people really healthy. And in that process, we're going to be talking about that. And if you go and look at the previous Hangouts that we've been doing, or I've been doing this year, you're going to get access to that information. And there's some phenomenal information on those Hangouts too. And I'll be sharing little bits of that, but I really want to focus on the digestive stuff and part 4 of the 7 secrets of electricity. So today, you know, I want to show you and explain to you how electricity can be, or microcurrent can be used to manage digestive diseases, even without meds, especially without meds. And so that's what we're going to be covering today. And maybe you know, but maybe you not know, but basically electricity has been demonized by the Hollywood's drama. There are phenomenal benefits of electricity, as we know, with computers and engines and motors and you know, everything is basically driven by electricity. And so is our body. And last month we looked at it in plants too, and the effects. Oh my God, we got the birds singing out here. It's early morning in Hawaii here, and the sun's beginning to warm up, and it feels good. And I've been working on getting this presentation half the night. So, and also what happens is that the microcurrent creates this chemistry by which the degenerative tissues regenerate or rejuvenate, and probably faster than any other way on the planet. We've seen absolutely phenomenal results. Clinical studies all tell us about that as well. And the reason for that is that, you know, normally we think of electricity in the process here of actually demonizing electricity. Electricity in these subtle energy forms that we are in plants and animals and anything that's living has a way of really enhancing the body's own healing properties and quickening them too. So electricity is actually a very beneficial substance for cascading a whole wide range of effects in the body. And so in that cascade of those effects, the body gets the chemistry to regenerate or rejuvenate tissues very, very quickly, even degenerative discs. And if you look at past Hangouts, you can get that information too. But that's not the focus of this particular Hangout today. We're going to be talking also, looking at solving the underlying causes of those diseases. And according to the clinical studies in the digestive group, if we look at this one here, we can see that gastritis and duodenitis, there were just over 1,000 patients, and all but 16 were cured, completely cured. 98.43% were completely cured. 99.80, basically 100%, showed improvement. So we only had out of that 12, 14 people, 2 people with no result. And these ones with slight and moderate and significant improvement. But nonetheless, you can name whatever the disease model you have. You can name most of the diseases, and you're going to get these types of results. Now, with the ulcers and stuff, that's going to take a little bit more time. And also you need to make sure that you get your body chemistry alkaline. This is for everything, but especially for ulcers. And so with that, they had 341 folks that came into their clinical studies. Now, this was back in the 80s. So this has been around for a long time. And this data has been hard data that's been proven over the 30 years since then to just continue on continue on giving. And so with the 341 people there, this wasn't such a hot group, obviously. Reason for that is it takes a little more time. It will take the situation, and it will get those higher cure rates, but it just takes a little more time than some of the other stuff. The musculoskeletal stuff is very, very quick, for instance. Enteritis, the 182 cured, 100% cure rate on that. So just think about that. It's like colitis. We got 302 and 263 with basically a 90%, 87% cure rate and a 98% improvement rate. I don't know if I can pronounce that word, cholecystitis, and 218 people, 145 cured, and that's a 66. So these ones that are in the lower values, they do need some diet changes and exercise changes and other sort of coaching supported type of things that can really support you in those lifestyle changes. Now in hepatitis, we had 48 in there with 47 complete cure, not bad. And the pancreatitis, both acute and chronic, 63 cured. Isn't that amazing? Now, this is all just with this clinical trials. They were just using these microcurrent devices. And I'm going to just go and show you one right now. I can hold it up, and let me just get out of here. Stop. And just show you one here. Let me take my label off there. And this is the device. This is actually one of the devices out of DENAS. Whoops. And let's turn it on for you. And you can see this is actually the Russian version. And we have power levels and clocks. And these are the electrodes that stimulate from the side there. And over here, we have that little comes out, and you can put electrodes in there. So we'll talk about more of those later. But that's what we're talking about, is basically stimulation using AA batteries. So it's completely harmless to the body, but it does all of this amazing, amazing work. So back to my screen share here. And so that's how they got it, by treating specific points on the body in order to get those results. Now, of course, whenever we're doing this, like I mentioned earlier, you really want to do, the good foods, non-GMO, alkalizing diet, certainly organic. Make sure it is organic. Some stuff is now, especially in America or North America, is labeled organic, but it isn't actually organic anymore. Those companies were bought out by Monsanto and those other big jerks. And also stay away from the processed foods. So that's really super, super important, because it all supports the healing process and quickens it. Now, today also I'm going to talk about live foods a little bit, more on that later. But, between, getting the right nutrition into the body, that is the way to do it. And we're going to be talking actually about cultured foods. This is my partner here preparing us the cultured foods, more on that later. But all of this has to be combined with exercise. And there's me doing a back bend. That's quite remarkable. If you think about it, like years ago, like when I was 14, I had a wall that fell on my head and it really compromised my back. And I was in massive, massive pain. Maybe you can relate. Massive pain for decades. And it was only after I started to use the scanner. I mean, there was no way I could get that far up in a back bend ever. But now, after years of practicing it, I've been able to get the back more and more loosened up. I can't get the hands much more in yet. You can see this tension in the shoulders there. But this exercise and stretching is super important. In the last 3 months, 2 months or so, 3 months, I've also added some sort of cardiovascular, and I'm doing a little bit of running now. And that has really helped. It's really amazing. Because really, basically, bottom line, what we want to do with this, of course, is to get off that medical hamster wheel and start forking out the dollars to these guys on the right there and save more dollars in your pocket. And these devices are very inexpensive relative to the tens of thousands of dollars of value that they have in terms of like rejuvenating your body. Part of the issue with all of this is around, and this is the point that I keep on bringing up in every one of these monthly Hangouts, is the illusion of disease. And there's an excellent book by Mike Adams. He's the health ranger from Natural News. And basically what we're talking about here is the power of the word. And the power of the word has effect on the mind, from NLP and different things. It really helps to anchor stuff in, which could be beneficial. But in the way that the medical system has been using it, it's been kind of like detrimental, because it's labeling situations like ADDH. It's labeling those things with diagnostics that really are not real. And if you look at what's happening with the nutrition, no wonder those kids have ADD. It's no wonder they're all over the place. And sadly, the medical system is dumbing them down with different medications like never before. And we really got to get out of this whole habit, and we've got to get out of being framed by the doctors and our lives run by them. Now, it's kind of interesting in my situation. I am actually, and actually my partner too, I've been a health food, I wouldn't say Nazi, I mean, in terms of like super, but I've been very health food aware for the last 40 years or so. And so I've been in those sort of, not diets, but I've been watching what I've been eating, especially in the last 20 years. And it has made a huge difference. Now, my partner, who is even more health conscious than I am, it's been very interesting. She had a chronic lung infection for years and years and years and years and years, and was coughing and coughing, and it was like there's nothing. She did everything. I mean, she did all of the most advanced treatments, and diligently did them. And the scanner, or this microcurrent technology, has really, really helped her, and especially in terms of reducing the muscle armoring between the ribs from the coughing and stuff like that. However, it wasn't until I said to her a few months ago, and fortunately she listened to me. I was getting the hint that she needed to go to a regular doctor and see if there was an antibiotic that she could take. And she was going like, no. But actually what had happened for me, like I had had a tooth extracted. And in that process, I forget I had caught some staph infection, and I had managed it with the microcurrent. And it was manageable. And I'd got rid of it, but I could still feel the sort of prickling heat in my body. So I knew that it was still systemic. So I went in and got a course of antibiotics. And guess what? It completely cleared it up. Well, Lindy went in and did the same thing, and she got a course of antibiotics for a lung infection, and she has not coughed ever since. So yes, definitely these doctors do have, you know, they do have their benefits, but you've got to be really, really cautious and really, really educated as to which ones to choose and which ones not to choose. And the problem being is that once you put the power of the word on whatever the disease is that you have, you are going to be trapped in that illusion. And when you grab hold of Mike Adams' book, and if you need, there's a link that I'll put up on the right there in the I field. And is it the right? Yeah, it's the right-hand side of the video. There will be the link in that top right-hand corner. And there will be a link to the Illusion of Disease, so you can download a copy of the book. It's very, very thorough. And it's very dealing with the semantics of language and the NLP and the power of language and the power of the word. And today, what I wanted to talk about, and I just realized that I haven't got the actual slide in place, which would have been here, but I wanted to give you a couple of examples. So I'm going to keep moving. Well, I'll give you a couple of examples. I wanted to do that, and I forgot to put that information in on this slide. So just bear with me for just a moment whilst I go grab it. And I'm going to stop sharing there for a moment. Back to me. Just bear with me for a couple of moments, and I'm going to see if I can grab some of that information that I wanted to talk about. You know, when you go to my site, eBodyFUSION.com, there's a little link there, and it's like, which device is going to be right for me? And it's basically my free assessment for you. So you can get that free assessment. Now, obviously, a lot of people are signing in and sending in information for that free assessments. And so what I wanted to do today was just pick out one of them in particular that came in just yesterday. And I want to kind of like make it anonymous so that I preserve that individual's privacy. And so I wanted to grab hold of that information before I went out there and put this whole thing together. So let me just quickly do that and get it to you real soon. So let's see, going to here, and I had one later here. She came in yesterday or the day before, and I wanted to grab that information, oops, and talk through it and how I do this. Okay, here we go. I think I can put this into that and take care of this and take care of that and blah, blah, blah. There we are. And remove that one. And excuse me, guys, I just been working on this and I just forgot this one little thing. Wouldn't you know it? So here we go. I got it just about together. Just bear with me one more moment. And let me just... Actually, we don't need that line. So here we go. Here we go. Here's the results of that assessment. So I'm just going to save it and then make that live to you guys on the screen there. So thanks for bearing with me. And remember that at the end of this talk, I will have a very special gift for you guys, and it's only for you guys that are on the call. So congratulations for being there. You will get it. And so let's just make sure it looks like it's sharing. I'm just double checking. Yep. And also I just want to go into the other site, and we're going to look at that in a detail in a moment, and just make sure that everything is working over there too. Let me see. And just loading it up. And so if you're on the replay of this, I would really appreciate if you have the time to, and you feel so inclined, to really remark on what's been going on here and remark on the stuff that's going in here, and give me a like, you know, give me a heads up. And if you are watching the Hangout live, that would be either eBodyFUSION.com Hangout. There's a chat box underneath there. And in that chat box, you can question backwards and forwards with me. So I see that nobody's got any questions yet. So maybe they're just watching this remotely else places. Now, these Hangouts have become like phenomenally popular. It's just blown me away. Basically, what's happened is that they are being seen by, I think February has been seen by over 6,000 people, and on average, they've been viewed for just over 30 minutes. So this information is obviously touching a lot of people deeply. And at my website, eBodyFUSION.com, there you can get more details of what we're doing, and also watch the Hangout there live if you're on the call, if you're on the Hangout live now, and ask me questions at the eBodyFUSION.com/Hangout. So this lady put in here her assessment, and this is the results of her assessment. And I just wanted to go through this with you because this is pretty an intense situation that she's working with, and so, you know, we got like got all these different names here that are affecting her. Osteoarthritis, asthma, overweight, and very low energy, which of course happens in these sort of situations. Basically, what's been happening is that from an electrical point of view, this person has over the years depleted their energy. And usually mostly it's from diet. A diet of 5. With these sort of issues, I would suspect that really, you know, to my level of thinking, that would be a diet. You know, 1 is good, 10 is bad, so 5 is somewhere in the middle. To my way of thinking, that wouldn't be a 5. I wouldn't, you know, it would be more like a 7 bad for me if I was eating like that and had these sort of results. But it's all relative to the individual. So in the first question, how motivated are you to achieve lasting wellness? Well, on when you fill out this assessment form, but just watch the scaling on this, because 9 means that there's very little motivation there. And I don't believe that's true for this person, but maybe it is. And if that is the case, then we have an issue. You know, we have an issue with the low energy. Each one of these, that's low physically, low, healthy, low. How long she had it for? Years, 5 years. Can she apply yes, she's sort of sure that she can apply an hour or more each day to self-treat. And she says she's familiar with the technology, but it doesn't look like she's using it sufficiently, or she needs a support group in order to get her up and running. That is one of the things as a coach, of course, is, you know, supporting you in terms of meeting your goals. And so from the coaching perspective, that's what I do, is really hold you accountable to making those goals happen. Now, if this person is in this really familiar, which 1 is in the scale, with the scanner technology, I would suspect majorly that they have got little or maybe some training, but they don't have the follow-up. And that's what it all is dependent upon. You know, that's what I've discovered, because I've been teaching and training people since 2008 in earnest. And actually, I've developed the first online microcurrent training program for the public. And it's become very, very popular. And very, very effective, because really it's me holding your hand throughout your process, and that's what gets the results. So, you know, so with the osteoarthritis, you know, this is acidic. Her body is, if I were to do a urine analysis on that, it would be very acidic, and you really got to get the pH down. Now that can be done, and we're going to be looking at that in the next Hangout in April, around the properties of electricity on that, more on that later in the session. But I just wanted to sort of show you how we're looking at these assessments and how I manage them, because really, you know, these accurate numbers as you can get, and then I write off a reply to you, and then we take it from there. And so, you know, always, you know, this stuff needs to be combined with, you know, motivation. And this is actually a shot that I took last week. I live here on the Big Island, and this is the City of Refuge at Hona now, just below Kona, on Kona site. And, you know, the ancient Hawaiians and were highly motivated to really honor their rituals and honor their gods and honor their chiefs. And so, in that cultural motivation that they were moving, they were living in. And of course, it was a very different life here then. Yeah, there was a lot of warring between different fractions within the Hawaiians. However, the lifestyle here was very, very healthy. We got lots of fresh ocean fish, and areas on the Big Island, areas where you can, especially on the Puna side, where you can grow stuff, because that's where I am on the rainy side. I'll show you a shot of that in a moment. But over there, it's like, motivation is derived from, feeling good, being clear on your goals, and feeling excited about what you're going to achieve. And, let's make 2016 the year for you to get really healthy. And this is what this Hangout really is about, to introduce you to that possibility. So motivation is huge in this. And like for this lady here, her motivation was in a 9, and my scale on this is 1 is excellent, 9 is very, very poor. So, she's got some work to do on that. She needs inspiration, she needs support in that, and she needs to get firm on how her life could look a year down the road once these different issues here have been resolved. Now, fortunately, with microcurrent, the low energy is not actually a big deal, because the electricity very quickly sparks up the body and gets things moving. So with the, so it gets you motivated. And once you're in that motivation, of course, then you can move on and things start to progress, except when you drop into a healing crisis. So in combination with that, it's really about repetition. And this is more of a Zen shot that I took here. This is from up in the Volcano National Park here. Early one morning, the sun was just beginning to come up. I go for hikes up there with my partner, and we hike sometimes, 6-7 miles, sometimes a lot longer when we go down to the ocean and camp down there on the ocean. It's absolutely spectacular. But it really is, repetition is the strength. And so long as you've got, a good motivation as to what your goals are and what you aspire to achieve, then these things can happen. Now, of course, what we're talking about here is more of the coaching and the mental stuff, which is all, going to be supported by diet. It's all going to be supported by getting clear on your goals and holding yourself accountable to that. And in terms of like, when you're working with these devices, let's see if I can show you one quickly down here. When you're working with these devices like this one, it's really about repeating it and keeping going with it and keeping moving forward, keeping, diligently doing a little bit every day. And sure enough, things begin to move on. And so when you do this as a process, on a month-to-month process, and this is the full moon actually here in Hawaii last month, at night, and this is actually, can't really see it in the shot here, but I live in the rainforest here on the Puna side, and actually it looks more like in the next one. So when you do this on a repetitive business, when you're repeating it, you're feeling motivated, you're feeling all charged up, and I'm excited to be here with you guys today. And if you're listening to the Hangout, I'm so glad that you found me. Is that, when you repeat this in a cyclic way on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and on a monthly basis, then you start to see things change. And of course, you need to keep hard data, like this lady here. You need to keep hard data. This is where she's coming in, and then she'll move from that as she progresses. And that all leads to success. And as you know, I play a little golf, and my friend Kim has built a golf course, and we go up there on Sundays, and this is my friend Rodney, and he actually did a really good shot there. And what happens when you get into this place where, you are in a place where you've got some sort of aspect that you're repeating? It may be like in conjunction with this Zen shot, it may be, meditating and relaxing that way. But it also is about doing the exercise. It also is about doing the different stuff like I do to keep that back limber. Otherwise, what happens is that if I don't do this for a month, it gets more and more difficult to get into those poses. Or actually not a month. If I do it for a few days, it gets more and more difficult to get in there. And, so success is out of that repetition and changing those lifestyle habits and making changes to those lifestyles so that you get the proper nutrition in the body and you get the proper exercise and the time out too. And that leads to the success, no matter what you're doing, right? And, so Cicero said, the life given to us by nature is short, but the memory of a life well spent is eternal. And really, that's my goal with you guys, to be in that memory of having, going to places that you would love to visit, like, being with family, doing workshops, learning new trades and learning new skills. That's what keeps us young. So, I need to give this sort of preamble to you because it really does form the basis for you getting better no matter what you do. And so that's why I like to share this, and also I love to share these hot shots of Hawaii here with you too. So let's get to the 7 healing secrets of electricity, which I promised you at the beginning. A couple of months ago, we did the healing aspect of pain reduction and how electricity can be used, or microcurrent electricity can be used for pain reduction, and how microcurrent can be used to kill off pathogens. Now, pathogen is from the Greek word pathos, and generating. Pathos means pain, and gen means generating, and all of those microbes are pain generating, and when you can kill them off and detox them, the pain goes, and that's a big part of the rejuvenation. So in this month, I want to talk about the energizing aspects of electricity. We mentioned that very briefly when we were looking at the assessment over here. How energized do you feel? And this lady said, well, I'm in an 8 and very low energy. And that's what she understood there that's clear that matches. And so in her situation, with lower energy, the electricity, when it tingles into the body, and I'm going to go onto camera for a moment and just show you this so that you get what I'm talking about. When you get this, my slide is coming down. When you get this, this device here, these electrodes deliver the electricity to the body, and that's what creates these results. It's just these little tingles, and it very, very quickly picks you up. In fact, if I'm like slow or just feeling yucky, I can very quickly get energized in my body because it's energizable very quickly now. I can get energized very, very quickly, and that is so awesome. So what does that look like to you? Well, obviously, we've got this electricity going into the body, and basically the nature of electricity is such that it is looking to find areas in the body which are low in energy. And so it seeks those areas. It's actually supplying those areas. Those areas that are low in energy in the body are also areas that are more stressed. So let's just take pain, for instance. Where there's pain, there's stress, and those energies are lower there. And these microcurrent devices can actually measure and give you readings on exactly those positions. So you can monitor those over time and create results as to how you're progressing. So it gives you an independent study as to what's going on. Now, electricity, as you may not know, is a phenomenal substance that is not sourced out of this dimension. It's actually sourced out of what we call the ether, or 0 point, or actually chi and prana are the same qualities. Gaia is too. It's all sourced out of an area that's off-world, so to speak. What we perceive and what we see are the electrons, or the electricity, the electrons flowing down the wire or into your computer and doing its numbers on the and processing or heating up the wire to form a filament in the light bulb, or a whole number of different things, turning a motor, etc., etc. Or in terms of like collecting sunlight, like I do, and we've got sunlight coming in, and lo and behold, we convert that into electricity. Now, in the body, it's different. Well, it's similar. It's like where there's low energy, it will find those areas. Or if you need to diagnose where those areas are, you can find it relatively easily. And you can also track how it's changing over time. So that's hugely important. And sorry, I've got a helicopter going over. And last month, we looked at the effect of electricity. I gave the examples of the effect of electricity on plants. And this was a little solar cell that this guy had hooked up into these two plants on the left here, E1 and E2, and the control plants were over on the right. And you can see how much this electrical energy has stimulated the process on plants. And if you go back to the March Hangout, I talk a lot more about that. Now, we will also I wanted to talk, so we got these properties of the electricity working in the body. Now, it stimulates a whole cascade of effects in the body, which are quite phenomenal. And that's what's so beautiful about it. The electricity literally finds its way automatically to where it needs to go. Da-da. Now, how does it do that? It's kind of like when you have a short or you grab hold of a wire and you're walking and you're standing barefoot on the ground. The electricity will flow right through you to the ground. So areas that are in pain or are diseased or degenerative, the electrical values in those areas are way, way lower. And give you an example, Billy, who you may know of, or you may have seen his video on the front of my site, eBodyFUSION.com. Billy quickly energized his body such that degenerative discs and a whole plethora of conditions that he had going on in his spine were taken care of, even though he had been for months, I mean years, on a very healthy diet. He was getting some results. He was out of major pain, but he wasn't getting the rejuvenating properties that electricity produces. So that was huge for him. The doctors were amazed. They couldn't believe it. There was an MRI before and an MRI a year later, and the doctors couldn't believe it. And this is not uncommon. In fact, it's very common with this type of technology. So just heads up on that. Now, getting back to the live foods for a moment. Actually, cultured foods in this case. My partner takes cabbage and carrots, and then she puts them in a jar and lets them pickle in there with a little water. There's nothing else in there. And the natural bacteria and substances that are on the cabbage, for instance, and on the carrots, they form a culture in there which forms a probiotic-rich culture of food. So this is live foods in here. And the other day, actually, we went over and we picked a whole bunch of avocados from a friend's tree, and she gave us these wonderful, wonderful avocados. And as you may know, avocados are really nutrient-rich food. What's even more interesting, and if you go to my Facebook page, I've got a lot of stuff on Facebook that you would love, so do friend me up on Facebook. The Facebook page, I just a week or two ago started, actually I had Lindy grind up some of the avocado pits where we chop them up really small and then we put them in a blender. And they are super nutrient rich foods. And so that's a heads up for you on that one. Avocado is extraordinary. But the cultured foods are super important. And in ancient cultures, cultured foods, they were cultures, excuse me, I'm going on a culture talk here. Those cultures used cultured foods. And they kept very well. They taste very good. Taste like they're salty or vinegary, or even though there's no salt in there or anything, actually it tastes really good, kind of pickled. And so I highly recommend that, you supplement your diet by, grating up some carrots and grating up avocado. I mean, not avocado. Actually, you could put the avocado seed in there. Interesting. If you ground it up really fine. But basically what we do is we grate the avocado seed and then blend it to a smoothie. But with this, you grate the cabbage and you grate organic cabbage and organic carrots, and then you put them in a jar to pickle with a little water, just enough water to just fill up to the top. Now in the initial jar, you won't have much culture and it'll take a while for them to pickle. But after you've made that one jar, you can use it like you can use the extra fluid from this to help start the next jar that you're making. So it's like it's a process that keeps on giving. And so with that, you're really getting nutrient food that's been fermented, which is even richer than the original food. So this is an idea that you can do for basically just for a little labor, grating up the carrots and the cabbage. You can do that, and you can get tremendous benefits from these cultured foods. Now over here, I shared this one last week and I forgot to take this slide out, but this is a good example of what we can do with a pain management. This is really when we were talking more about pain. This, my friend Chris here, he had third-degree burns down his arm. Look at these gnarly, gnarly burns. And this was about day 8 of the healing process. He hadn't been in much pain. In fact, he'd been sleeping every night. The first night he slept with this. And also there were no infections that came about because the effect of the electricity, like I was mentioning earlier, it finds its way and it has these different properties of killing the pathogens. So in his situation over here, there was no dressing needed on these wounds. And within like 12 days, and I don't have the slide here, unfortunately, 12 days, all of these scabs were gone. And his arm was 100% scar-free, if you can imagine that. Now, if you can imagine that in terms of like working on the organs inside the body, that's the similar sort of thing that's going to be taking place for you. And we're going to move into another little piece on the vertebra in the moment, this slide here. But let me first talk about this. By stimulating these different areas in the back, we can achieve stimulation to these different organs underneath. So organs of the chest, the heart and the lungs, in the neck, the thymus, etc., the larynx, the eyes and the ears. I forgot to put that up. And from down here, we got the spleen, the liver, the kidneys, the colon, and then beneath we've got whatever these ones, reproductive, and I guess, oh, that must be kidneys too. This must be stomach, kidneys and bladder. Right. So we can take place of all of these situations, even to the point where there's been massive infarction or kind of like a broken spine, got different situations like that in the spine. We can stimulate and get organs going again. At least that's according to the Russian studies and also what we have witnessed with others. So let's get you to, get you to the special in a moment. Let's get you to this. In the latest unit that's out of Russia now that I've been working with is called the vertebra. And it is absolutely phenomenal in what it does. It is so cool because it is not labor intensive like the handheld unit that I held up earlier, and I'll be showing you in a moment. You just lie on this device and it self-applies. And in this handset here, it has all the programs locked in there, and you just dial them up and you lie on there. So your head is down in this region and your back goes down here, and your coccyx and tailbone are down in this region, depending on how long your back is. So it stimulates all the way up and down the spine, and all the way through the rib cages, and all the way to the outer ribs over here. So that is phenomenal in terms of application simplicity. This is a total game changer for us, because previously, in order to get the results on the spine, for instance, we had to hold the handheld units all the way down here and take measurements all the way down, or move it up and down the spine and get just to get electricity in there. But this device, the vertebra, is the cat's whiskers as far as I'm concerned, because it delivers results pretty effortlessly. And I have been using it intensively on myself over the last few months, and have gone through a number of healing crises as the extra energy goes into my body. And it's been the completely deeper way that the body is responded to this than holding the handheld devices. So, my recommendation is that if you have any of these situations that are covered in this region over here, then that are chronic, then this is the way to go, because you don't have to worry about, oh, did I get it right? It does this automatically. Did I get it's all automatic. So it's like you don't need to dial up anything. Well, you dial up the different programs in there, but there's no numbers involved. There's no screen readouts. There's no math involved as to which place to go next, or any tactile response as to where to go next, etc., etc. So That's pretty amazing. And I'm really, really grateful that I've started working with this. I've been blown away with it, and clients have too. In fact, we have one client, and there's another slide I forgot to put up. One client in Russia, excuse me, not in Russia, in China, who's coaching gold medalists there. And he's working with this and the handheld units with them and getting phenomenal results. There's a picture that he sent of this. He was the gold medalist going to this next race, and he was using the handheld unit with the pad set before the race to energize his body. And it really does deliver extraordinary results. And I can attest to that, because when I do this, when I go on, say, the vertebra before I do a run, it's like night and day. It's subtle, but it's night and day. The difference in the energy levels in my body, there's much more, what's the word? It lasts longer. There's much more stamina there. So I promised to, get to a special gift announcement with you today for those that are on the call with me live, on this Hangout live, and so that we can get you, and your families and your friends, really dancing with joy and enjoying life to its fullest. And that's really, as a wellness coach, that's what it's all about for me, is to really, really get you the success through, repetition and through being clear on the motivation and your goals and repeating it cyclically like the moon does every 28 days, and to get you the results that are attainable. And so I basically, as your coach, will support you in that as you go through. So the special today is actually this unit over here. It's the baseline DENAS with the pad set and the massage set. And I'm going to throw in some really neat options on there, but bonuses on there too. But I've got a really good price on this because Russia's just changed the pricing a little bit. And I figured, okay, let's just see if I can help some people today get going. Because I know a lot of people kind of like sit on the fence around this stuff, and they need a little motivation to get going, and they're not maybe clear on their goals yet, or they don't believe that they can get beyond these sort of results, or this sort of stuff. In the normal literature, none of this is quote curable, but with this type of technology, it can. And the advantages of having, say, the pad set is that it's easy to apply to the neck or knee or a shoulder joint. Now, this is different to what you get with the vertebra. The vertebra just delivers to the back. Now, these devices, because they're external electrodes, and we'll get to the massage set in a moment, they can be used on the back. The long flat one here, you see this one here? That can be used to on the lower back, and this one on the lower back, and you just can place that there in your underwear, and so it's up against the skin, and it's got a really sturdy cable that you plug into the side here, and that's how we use it. But so these devices, if you are complementing, say, at the vertebra, they really complement one another. So these devices really help you to get going really quickly and sort of hands-free, but not really. Not hands-free like the vertebra is, but the pad set allows you to be hands-free because you can sit with or you can sit at your desk, you can drive to work, or if you're on a flight somewhere, you can put it on there. In fact, I had some special ops guys in a few years back with major damage in spine and stuff. And after a few sessions, and man, oh man, we really dug in there. After a few sessions, he was he got pain-free, but it was largely more movement in his neck and stuff from upper neck injuries that he had sustained in his work. And then he started using, because he traveled a lot, he was using it on all his travels, and he would just place it wherever it was hurting. Up in here, it was up in this sort of region, wherever it was hurting, and he would apply it. And lo and behold, he was getting results consistently. Now over here we have, these are actually Velcro ties that you can use to tie around the waist or around a joint like you see here. Well, actually I haven't got it tied because it hides the electrode itself. But they can be used to strap it on different places. And lastly, the massage set. Now this is actually really good because you can especially the comb I love, because you can do your head and your scalp, and also you can push these electrodes into areas that are very painful, say in the back, or if you've got like tendonitis, those sort of things, you can push those probes into the joints there, or into the muscles there, and get the stimulation even deeper into the tissue. And also side benefits for those people with pets. This is a great tool to treat your pets too. They love it, especially when you don't get the power levels too high. Now, to complement this, I'm going to be packaging in my 7-day, my DENAS 7-day training, and it has the following modules to it. Now, basically, all of this training, this is a 7-day self-study training. There's no actually support that comes with this in the 7-day. We can upgrade you later on. But you get, my 7-day welcome and orientation, the DENAS 7-day unboxing showing you the tool and how we use it and what comes with it. The DENAS whiteboard video, which is more of a theory of what you're doing, why you're doing it. And the #1 rule, which is the rule which you're going to learn and learn to apply, because it really addresses all situations in your body. Now, in this training also, I have the electrode videos for the pad set and the massage set. Now, these other ones don't come with this offer, but the pad set and the massage set, so I show you how to use these and how to strap them on and how to use the massage set more thoroughly, more deeply than I can in the course in this training, in this Hangout together. And so what do we got here? So next month we're going to be talking about that, but I really wanted to share this, and I'm going to put the link if you're into the chat right now, and so that you can, if you're going to grab this offer, today is the time to do it. And so if you're on the eBodyFUSION page at eBodyFUSION/Hangout, let's put that link in there for you guys, so that you can grab this offer, because it's only going to be up for the rest of the day. I'm going to be taking it down, so just heads up on that. And I'm putting it into the chat right now, if I can find it. There we go. Chat roll guest. There we go. And looks like I've refreshed the page. Sign in. And let's get that. So here's the link. Now, only the people that can see this link can actually get it. And that's going to be there. You can click right on it and take it from there. And let's see. So that's live. We've got about 7, a whole bunch of people in there. So yeah, go grab that. Go take a look at it. Now, meantime, back to this part. I'm just going to grab a glass, drink of water. So just one moment, please. Where did we go? Here we go. Now, next month, we're going to be talking, these Hangouts are on the first Saturday in April, well, the first Saturday of the month at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And yeah, let's put that in there just so that you remind you, 11 a.m. Pacific. And so I'll be talking about the 7 healing secrets. This is a whole series that I'm talking about. We're going to be looking at the antioxidant properties of electricity. Hugely powerful. I estimate it to be the most powerful antioxidant on the planet. So, grab this one, because it's really, 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 really interesting. And also next April, in the April Hangout, we're going to be talking about diseases of the year. Now, I've blanked out the results over here. And this is again from the clinical studies. So obviously the way that we use this is dependent on a number of factors, well, understanding how to use it. So that's where my training and coaching comes in handy. But the way that we use it, these results keep on delivering in all of these different spectrums of disease groups. So basically, this is why I love this illusion of disease, because really with microcurrent, we're making this whole thing, the disease is delusory. If there's no reason to have it, if you have, good diet and good exercise, good water, and a good mental attitude, and you're strongly connected with the positive aspects of your goals. And that way you can just really, really benefit from it. So, it's cutting through all of these different areas in the body of the disease spectrum, and it makes it very, very simple. And that's the main reason why, and let's go back to this slide for a moment, why this type of technology hasn't been out there in the public, because it's been largely suppressed and hidden and occulted, and by those monsters that be in the AMA and all of the legal professions that control all of this stuff. So, go back to this slide here, the diseases of the digestive system. I know from time to time, I have to make a sort of an honest confession with you here. I know from time to time I do pig out, and not as bad as I used to, but because of the situation that's being moved forward by the intensification using this device. Because of that, I've been in a place where my stomach has been a way more sensitive than normal. And whenever I do have that, what I do is actually I use a handheld unit for that. And I put it on the areas where I feel it in the stomach. And quite honestly, it very quickly de-stresses, in my case, the descending colon. And then the energy moves, and the pain recedes, and then I have a good bowel movement. But that's so that's how I use it. Now your situation will be, I'm sure, a little different, and but it really has supported that ongoingly over the years, and I'm so grateful. In fact, this is something that you guys need to consider, is like, with one of these units, and especially at the special that I have today, with one of these units, I have one in the car, I have one in my bedroom, and of course I have several up in my healing space where I do sessions and I work on all of this stuff. I do my yoga and do my stretching, and so I have those units around me. So there's no excuse not to pick one up and use it. In fact, last year I got a huge blow to my eyeball, my left eyeball. I mean, it was so painful. I was strapping on a surfboard for my son onto the roof rack with a bungee cord, and the bungee cord came loose, and the end of it came right in at full blast into my left eyeball. I was knocked for the moment onto the ground, not unconscious, but the pain was so extreme. And immediately, right after, I applied the device to that at very low power levels and to the eye in order to reduce the pain. And it was several days, maybe a week or so, before the pain completely relaxed out of around the eyeball and the eyeball socket. And there was no blurriness, but yesterday, well, Thursday, I went to have my itis checked because I've been having some other issues, and which is that left eye is now getting slightly less crisp than the right eye. And so I've been using that for that. So, if you have an urgent emergency like that, these are really, really powerful because it allows you to get right onto it right away. And so, I really do encourage you to not only just to look at these videos and understand more, but really jump on board and get yourself going with this type of technology. And in future, with these public hangouts that I'm doing, I will be hosting an offer for you, each one, but these offers will only be available to the end of the day. They are so rock bottom that it's below what I can do business wise, or should be doing business wise, so I can't leave it up there. But however, today, if you go to the link, if you're live on the call, and if you're at the eBodyFUSION.com/hangout site, then you will see in the chat roll below, you'll see the link to the yep, I'm just seeing it there, great, to the Thrive cart, and I'm just going to refresh that and see if anybody else. Hey, Diane, I see you there too. Great. And yeah, if you've got any questions on this, just let me know in that chat box, and I'll get back to you. And meantime, hey, Dirk, good to see you there too. And let's. I'm going to finish this out.
Yeah, if you've got any questions on this, just let me know.
I could turn off getting a repeat there on myself. So, God bless you, and you have a wonderful month. Looking forward to hearing from you. Do grab one of those personal assessments from me and check it out, and I'll get back to you with what I would recommend for you. And if you feel it's time for you to upgrade into the coaching program, get contact with me on that. There's a form at the top of the site, eBodyFUSION.com. In the training coaching section, you can find the form and complete that out and get that to me. And then we'll take a look at that and see if we can if that's going to be a good fit for both of us. And that way, my goal is to really advance this technology, change the face of medicine with this technology. So we do that one person at a time, of course. And if that's you today, I'm really looking forward to working with you. And if not quite yet, looking forward to working with you in the future. Please tell your friends, family, and friends. Tell them about this. And also, if you're watching this as a replay later on, do go down below and hit me up with a comment or two, or just give me a like or two. I mean, it's like, I've been working on this for like 12 hours getting this presentation ready for you guys. And so glad that I can do it, and so glad that we've got this technology to offer to you. And I'm really excited to bring all of this to you. So I'm going to be closing out the live part of the Hangout right now. And we're going to be going live with me for the rest of the time. So I'm going to close out the Hangout. Goodbye. We'll see you soon. Aloha.